Let's be completely honest before we even look at a single stat today. Right now, the entire football media is losing its mind over Lionel Messi surpassing Miroslav Klose's record of 16 goals with his hat-trick against Algeria and his 2 goals against Austria. And look, doing that at 38 years old in his 6th tournament is crazy. But while everyone's busy looking at the history books through the short term, they're completely missing out at the freight train that's running down through the middle of this 2026 tournament. I'm talking about Kylian Mbappé. With his brace against Senegal, Mbappé didn't just become France's all-time leading goal scorer at 58 goals, surpassing Olivier Giroud. He also completely rewrote the baseline for what a World Cup peak looks like. He is now sitting at 16 World Cup goals in 16 career matches. He's 27 years old, playing only his 3rd tournament, and he's already tied with Gerd Müller for the 4th most goals in the history of the competition. If we're ranking the greatest World Cup players of all time right now, at this exact second, he is probably top 5, arguably top 3, even though that might be a stretch. He isn't number 1 yet. You have to give that crown to Pelé for the 3 World Cups he has won, or Maradona for the World Cups he has won too, or Messi who has 2 World Cup golden balls. But the narrative's about to flip. If France go all the way and win this tournament, the debate is over. Kylian Mbappé will stand alongside Pelé and Messi as one of the World Cup GOATs. Let's break down the ball knowledge of why this is inevitable. To understand why Mbappe's trajectory is completely broken, you have to look at the pacing. Football casuals love to look at cumulative totals, but analysts look at the efficiency per minute. Look at the guys ahead of him or tied with him right now. Miroslav Klose is the top guy with 16 goals. It took Klose 4 full World Cups and 24 matches to hit that number. He was a great player, a pure striker, but he was a volume scorer across a decade of dominant German teams. Lionel Messi just hit 16 goals, but it took him 6 different World Cup and 27 appearances to reach that mark. Ronaldo Nazario hit 15 goals across 4 World Cups too, but he only played in 3 of them. Then you look at Mbappe, 16 goals in 16 matches. That is the scoring rate of the goal per game on the biggest stage of human sports. Let's see how he got here. In 2018, he walks into Russia as a 19-year-old kid. Most teenagers are just happy to get a few minutes off the bench. But Mbappe drops 4 goals, terrorizes Argentina's defense in knockouts, and becomes the first teenager since Pelé to score in a World Cup final. Then France wins the trophy, and he walks away as the Best Young Player award. Then 2022 happens, Qatar. This wasn't just a great tournament performance. It was a single-handed carry job when France's midfield was entirely missing due to injuries. He drops 8 goals to win the Golden Boot, and a crowning achievement, getting a hat-trick in the World Cup final against Argentina. Think about the quality you have to score in 3 separate goals, including 2 penalties under the maximum pressure against Emiliano Martinez, a penalty specialist, in the single final. He became only the 2nd person in history to score a World Cup hat-trick in a World Cup final, after Geoff Hurst in 1966. And now, as France played their first World Cup game against Senegal, he picks up right where he left off. A casual brace, including a long-range banger in stoppage time to settle the game. This guy is writing history right in front of us. Now let's address the biggest World Cup GOAT debate. Who is considered the absolute World Cup GOAT? Pelé. The immediate counter-argument from older fans will always be, Pelé won 3 World Cups, you can't touch him. But if you analyze it, we'll have to look at the actual reality of those tournaments, not just the Wikipedia summary page. Let's look at the 1962 World Cup in Chile. Brazil did win the trophy, but Pelé got injured in a very second group stage match against Czechoslovakia. He watched almost the entire tournament from the treatment room while Garrincha single-handedly carried Brazil to that title. Pelé literally played less than 180 minutes of football in 1962. He gets the medal because he was part of the squad, but from a perspective of actual performance and contribution, he barely participated. Then look at 1966. Pelé got ruled out of the tournament early because defenders were literally trying to break him to pieces, and Brazil lost in the group stage. So realistically, Pelé has 2 World Cups where he was the main driving force, 1958 as a breakout genius and 1970 as a leader of the greatest football team ever assembled. He finished his career with 12 World Cup goals across these 4 campaigns. Compare that directly to Mbappe. Mbappe hasn't had the luxury of sitting on the bench while someone else wins him a 2nd title. In 2018, he was starting every game and even scoring in the final. In 2022, he was the main man across the entire tactical system, dragging up this France team to a penalty shootout in the final. And here, in 2026, as a captain of France, The entire tournament is around watching him. Mbappe has been going completely all out, maximum output as a primary focal point for all 3 World Cups he has stepped into. He has passed Pelé's career total of 12 goals on day 1 of his 3rd tournament. By the time this group stage finishes against Iraq and Norway, he could realistically be sitting on 16 or 17 goals at just 27 years old. The level of sustained active reliance France has on Mbappe across 3 World Cup cycles completely overshadows the reality of Pelé's middle tournament runs. Another angle we have to talk about is the sheer structural difficulty of modern football right now. When you watch football from the 1950s, 60s, or even the 70s, the tactical setups were completely different. The spacing on the pitch was massive, and pressing structures didn't exist. Sports science hadn't evolved to the point where structural low blocks could suffocate a superstar for 90 straight minutes. If you're technically superior, you have the time and space to manipulate the game. Today, international managers have cracked the code on how to nullify elite players. Teams, like how Cabo Verde did against Spain, or anyone else sitting in a deep low block, will completely crowd the central areas, double team the wings, and physically abuse you to the second you turn your back to a goal. Yet, despite facing the most sophisticated defensive structures in the history of the sport, Mbappe still finds a way to make them look completely useless. Think about his profile. It isn't just that he's fast. Lots of players are fast. It's the fact that his speed is paired with world-class technical execution at top velocity. When he cuts inside from that left flank, defenders know exactly what he wants to do, but his deceleration and acceleration and sudden bursts are physically unguardable. And look at his evolution under his French manager, Didier Deschamps, or I don't know how to pronounce it. He started as a pure touchline hugging inside forward. Now, he operates with a completely positional freedom. He can drop deep into the left half space, combine with light-footed midfielders, or drift centrally to play as a traditional 9 when France needs a direct broad presence. He is producing historic numbers in an era where space is very limited to go across on the pitch. So let's lay out the final condition for the crown. Right now, as it stands, Mbappe is tied for the 3rd all-time World Cup goal scorer with 14 goals. He just needs 3 more goals in this tournament to hit 17 and break the all-time World Cup scoring record over Klose and Messi. Given France's upcoming group stage matches against Iraq and Norway, he could realistically have that record broken before we even reach the round 16. If France goes on to win this tournament, Mbappe will finish the World Cup with 2 World Cup titles, 3 World Cup final appearances, and most likely be the all-time World Cup goal scorer in history, with around 18 and 19 goals probably, and probably the record for the most goals ever in the World Cup finals. If that checklist hits, you can no longer argue for anyone else. You can't argue for Klose because Klose didn't have the individual peak or technical dominance. You could maybe argue for Pelé because he has 3 World Cups, but at the same time, he had like a 1962 passenger medal where he barely played but the Brazil team won it for him. And you can't even argue for Messi probably because his World Cup career was a long slow build over 2 decades, whereas Mbappe completely conquered the tournament from the moment he arrived. He isn't the number 1 yet. The tournament just started and the knockout rounds are hard to predict, but the destiny is entirely in his hands. But I want to hear from you guys. Am I giving too much disrespect to Pelé's legacy, or is it time to admit that Mbappe's World Cup peak is completely unmatched in football history? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.